This is a really cool clip. I'm gonna go over with you because I think Tim did such a great job with this guy Adam Conover, who is a comedian. He is known for being the star of the show Adam Ruins Everything, which I think was on the air like maybe 10 years ago. I remember when I lived in Williamsburg in like 11, 12, 13, something like that. I lived in Williamsburg. I remember seeing Adam like waiting for the subway, just like me. But we all know the direction our careers took. So it's just funny to see him. It's just funny to see like what an arrogant prick he's turned into. But I think he kind of was always this way. And there's something. All right, I'm gonna start playing this clip, and then I'll tell you guys what I think about liberals. All right. So this clip is Tim Pool calling out Adam Conover. They're talking about free speech, and it basically gets to a place where I'm not going to blow it. I'm just going to play it.
Go to the UK and make jokes about Islam.
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse you. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam? Yes or no?
Wait, I don't want to. I don't want to go to this particular rabbit hole.
Oh, no.
They're talking about the difference between free speech and consequences of that speech, right? So he's saying, like, Adam, would you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam? And he's pretending like he doesn't know what he's talking about. When everyone knows in reality, like at this point, the UK is like, I don't know, basically a Muslim country, and you would be in deep shit. And who knows?
Yeah.
Bad things would happen for sure. Okay. And just the way that Adam speaks, it's like, it just makes me think he has like Keanu and I and any other comedian probably that I've ever interviewed has had either a tweet or a joke where you get consequences from it. Like you get backlash. You get weeks and weeks of, I don't know, Black Twitter or Malaysian Twitter or whatever in your DMs, in your comments, upset with you for a very long time. And I just feel like Adam
people coming up to you after shows after they raise their hand in the middle of the joke and they that's shitty, and then they tell you you don't tell those kinds of jokes in this town, Missy. Ugh. I'm like, your husband liked it, bitch. Walk along now. So thanks.
You're like, put it in the suggestion box. All right.
Right.
I'm gonna rewind. Okay, here we go.
Why won't you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse you. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam? Yes or no?
Wait, I don't want to. I don't want to go to this particular rabbit hole.
Oh, no. You're terrified. You're a hypocrite.
What?
Are there jokes you can make about Islam? Muhammad banged a little girl, right?
I'm really baffled.
Come on.
No. He's pretending like he doesn't know basic. Like he's pretending he doesn't know what Tim is getting at. And this is like kind of what's so exhausting about the left is they refuse to acknowledge when someone who's not on the left makes any kind of a point.
I'm terrified of this subject. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
In the UK, you can be jailed for making jokes about Islam or even bring up the grooming gangs. There are people who go online and pointed out that a stabbing was carried out by a Muslim, and they got arrested for it. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of that stuff, because you will not go to a foreign country and in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you. $10,000 cash in your pocket if you go to the UK and make a joke about Muhammad having a 12-year-old wife.
This we got here faster than I thought we would in this conversation. Where you're shouting at me about something I don't understand. I don't really understand how you would think it's incumbent upon me.
Do you think anybody watching this right now thinks you are confused by the notion that in the UK you go to jail for mocking Islam?
I don't understand how we got onto you shouting at me about Islam specifically. I'd like to return to
okay. It's because
he just said to him, like, I will pay you $10,000 to go to the UK and make a joke about Islam. It's kind of like a yes or no thing. Like, would you or wouldn't you?
Two genuine questions: is the man in the denim gay? I'm genuinely.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
And number two, I didn't even know that was happening in the UK. That's fucking terrible.
Oh,
The Muzzies have taken over, Keanu. It's no longer foggy London town.
No, foggy London town. My God, that's a hustle.
Oh yeah, people are getting arrested for all sorts of very dumb things. Like we were just talking about this on my channel the other day about there guys that were celebrating Hitler's birthday with a cake with a swastika on it at a bar, and they got arrested. And now, cops are like searching their homes and investigating them.
But if they find it funny, it's not a cake. Right?
It's over a cake. Like the bartender doesn't like it, kick him out. That's fine, whatever. But like, yeah, so it's bad really over there. Yeah. I think Adam needs to get arrested for inciting violence, though, because I want to punch him in the face so bad right now.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know what goes into making a person this arrogant and smug. And it's like, you're a guest on this guy's podcast. Like, they paid for you to come out. Like, it's a big deal. And the attitude. I really could do without. I could do without the attitude.
Not only that, but it sounds like he knew that they were going to have some sort of confrontation. So why didn't he prepare himself a little bit better for it?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, he's very ill prepared.
Yeah, a lot of this come to this country and speak out against it. And you said you're a comedian, and you're a comedian, and you go to other countries, right? And you said you go to the UK, and I said, okay, if you go to the UK, speak out in violation of their laws and see what happens. And you said, I'm confused. I don't understand. What don't you understand? Will you go to Turkey? Will you go to Turkey and speak out against Islam?
I mean, if I have a joke to make sure, I don't have a joke about those particular topics.
You would.
I would.
You're saying if you had a joke about.
Oh yeah. Sure, I would try to do the best I can. I always try to poke the bear as much as I can. It's part of the job of a comedian. Because
as it pertains to one of the world's largest religions.
That's what he should have said to start with. Like, yeah, you're a comic. Then, if you have a joke about it, he could have just said, that is kind of a touchy subject for me. I don't normally touch on it. Not saying that other comedians can't do it, but no, it's not. Instead, he just like nervously laughed, and now he has his head in his hand.
He looks like he's about to fall asleep.
He looks defeated. He looks very defeated.
I mean, I haven't written a joke about that recently. All right. So look, hey man, I'm a free speech guy, right? I think that something that's nice about America is that we're a country that has that value, and that we don't generally think that you should be tossed into a van and kicked out of the country for expressing an opinion. I think that it is a change. I think it's a change in America to most people around the world to feel that, oh, wait, if I go to America and I express a mild opinion about their foreign policy in my own student paper, or maybe on a stage or maybe somewhere else, I could be, without any warning to me, accosted by 6 people on the street, thrown into a van, and taken out of the country.
Oh, come on,
right?
accosted.
Let me finish. I think that's a strain. I think that's a new idea for a lot of people, that America is that type of country. I think that Donald Trump's purpose is to turn America into that type of country. I think that that's bad. I think it makes the country smaller. I think it makes the country worse. I think it's a violation of most of the values that I grew up with as an American.
This is, I don't know what, and I'm not watching liberal media anymore, but maybe I should, to figure, because I've heard this sentiment echoed by, honestly, like Nikki Glazer, some other comics, Kathy Griffin, and any celebrity who's moved out of the country, like for fear of Trump, for fear of being deported. Like, what messages are the liberals receiving that they actually believe that, like, Trump, A, gives a shit about them, is thinking about them specifically, B, is going to kick people out for speaking ill of him or speaking out against him? It blows my mind. And I've heard so many leftist celebrities echo this sentiment that I'm like, where are they hearing this from? That they actually believe that this is a threat and this is something they're worried about. Has anybody else experienced this, or just me?
And I will watch the liberal media, even, or, my brother is extremely liberal. He hasn't even mentioned that to me. Like, literally not. I mean, and he'll tell me every single bad thing about Trump. I'm like, oh, really? Is that happening? And then I have to look into it or whatever. But I have not heard one real at least to my knowledge, not one real word about him, like, censoring people. Isn't that what?
It's just dumb
he's definitely not
celebrities.
for that, right?
It's dumb celebrities that post stuff on Twitter. I'm under the assumption that it's the people that are on Epstein's list, and they're afraid that they're going to go to prison because everything's going to get exposed. But that's just my theory. And then there's the other dum-dums that don't want to think about that just jump on that train. And that's
I have this
what
clip.
he's specifically talking about there is like foreign students who have been engaged in like protests on American universities and campuses that have been, removed from the country. So I think the interesting question here is, if you are not an American citizen, if you are not a citizen of a country and you're visiting, what rights do you have? And in some cases, were these protests illegal protests? Were they over the bounds of what would be considered, demonstrating for for freedom of speech, just a peaceful demonstration? I think that is what you'd have to look at. But there has been examples of this, but I think you kind of have to look at the specific examples and see why these people were deported. Because he's just saying, they've been deported for speaking their rights. I have a feeling there's a little bit more to it than that.
And you can't just say, I'm an American and we have free speech in America when you're in a different country. Like, that doesn't fly. They don't, I just don't think people care about
it's like
what
if you're visiting a country and you commit a crime in that country, even if you're staying there as a student, you should be kicked out. That's pretty much par for the course. That makes sense to me.
That's why I don't know what's her face, that Brittany Griner. What was she carrying? She had a vape
when she was arrested in Russia for having
Russia with a vape,
yeah.
and then we had to freaking trade her back for a freaking drug lord guy.
Yeah,
you have to be. I mean, I don't. Even if it is legal in your country, I don't think anybody should really bring weed on an airplane, even if you are a basketball star, right? Just to be on the safe side. Like, is she too stupid to know that, or I don't know.
She said something about how she forgot to double check her bags before packing for her trip to Russia, and something very lame.
That can happen. I mean, I don't think she should be captive in another country. I'm glad we got her back, but
I'm not. She sucks. All right, let me keep playing this.
I mean, she hates
and
this
that's
country.
my
She should have
view
stayed
of what's
there.
happening in the country. Now, if you want to say, hey, I don't like free speech for foreign nationals who are in the country who express mild opinions about other countries' foreign wars, then that's your prerogative. It's a big difference between us that you don't like free speech in that way.
I mean, that's loaded language, right?
Yeah, all the language you're using is pretty loaded.
Well, you keep using adjectives to describe things to diminish one thing while exacerbate or exaggerate something else.
I do use the English language to express my thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, but it's straw manning. It's not a legitimate attack of the ideas, right? So accosted on the street. Come on. She was arrested. Okay. She was arrested by a relatively large group of men compared to what a normal arrest would require, which I think they didn't need to do and was silly. So we can say she was arrested by several men, unmarked or plain clothes, which didn't need to happen. But I don't need to say she was accosted by men on the street and it was about a mild opinion. It's okay, listen, the facts of the case, like I said, I don't like the idea that people come to this country and then try and tell us how to do, how to live our lives.
You're not for free speech. I understand.
I think American citizens have self-determination and sovereignty. And I will say this even of the Canadians who keep coming here and they keep getting involved in our politics. I'm friends with some of them, but I think it's fair to say that there is an issue with Canadians, largely conservatives, who come to this country and then start advocating for conservative vets in a country they're not from. So to be fair, there are liberals Canadians who do it too. I find it to be silly. That being said, Canada as a bordering nation with a largely overlapping culture is a morally different question, but still applies in much the same way principally. So I do take issue with foreigners coming to my country.
It's a nice white country, so we like it.
Canada's they call it what, the most multicultural country in the world, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam is so glib, tries to make this point of, oh, you like Canada because they're white, and then Tim's like, actually no, they're super diverse.
He literally explained why he was fine with Canada.
If you come visit, you won't be like, wow, look at all these white people. It's definitely not.
We wish, right? No.
Not.
Maybe big on immigration. I think Toronto is considered.
Sorry, what did you say, Rachel?
Maybe 10 years ago.
Right. like let's go back to the 90s.
It'd be the most multicultural city in the world.
Yeah.
So Canada actually is, you can call it a nice white country. That's technically the truth, but it also is very, very much in favor of immigration and diversity and all these things, largely what many of the conservatives are coming here speaking out against. But without, you know,
so this is a country where if you're from another country and you're in America, don't say anything about our politics, or you could be forcibly removed from the country. You're comfortable with America being that kind of country. That's something that's like
we're like nowhere near that, and the fear mongering that's going on the left. That like, well, at any moment you're gonna get thrown into a paddy wagon. It's so ridiculous.
Does Tim Pool think that is happening?
No, Adam thinks that.
Adam thinks it's happening. Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because nobody with a brain actually thinks that's happening. It's a fantasy.
It's somebody who's probably like more liberal than the rest of you here. But I haven't heard it. I really haven't. But again, I'm a political layman.
It's not happening to anybody. It's
right.
Do we know anybody who's like similar to what happens mostly in European countries, that you actually will get reprimanded or people will show up to your house over a tweet? That's not happening in this country, period. And Adam's trying to make it sound like that's about to be a reality, and it's just very disingenuous.
That's a value of yours. Those are your values.
See, you're doing it again.
No, I'm trying to understand what you actually believe.
Yeah, I'd say marginally it's a good,
because I think that's a point of distinction. Like it's useful in a conversation like this to be like, okay, I have my value, you have your value, and my value is like, I really like it when people say what the fuck they think about any country's politics.
We can simplify it. My value would just be, to whatever mathematical degree, American sovereignty supersedes the right of foreigners to speak about our policies.
But in this case,
that's just my value.
So you think that literally any time America is exercising its sovereignty, that's like a good thing in that particular case? Like, because
what does that mean?
Like,
you're a guest in Mark. With all due respect, I think I said it like 6-7 times. You're a guest in our country. Adhere to the rules. That's it. That includes conservative Canadians, conservative Brits. That's Carl Benjamin. That's Paul Joseph Watson. That's Viva Fry. That's Seth Rogen, and it's also
so all those people should not speak about American national interests in like the Suez Canal. We shouldn't say the Panama Canal or like Puerto Rico a state or not. Visa. They should not speak about American politics.
You can speak about what you want, but speech has consequences.
I mean, okay, so we can move on. I'll say, to me, that's a radically different America than I thought I grew up in. And
Adam's denying that speech has consequences, and I think he's just kind of maintaining like, what I would like to have happen is that anyone can say anything, and nothing will ever, I think I had to play another little bit of this segment so we can get this part out.
I think it's fucked up that we're becoming that kind of country. I think it's really bad.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't believe I think that's true?
Well, I mean, I suppose
what I just said, I believe. You're like, you don't believe that.
Well, because if we go back several administrations, that's not been the case ever. I mean, look at New York in the 2000s when the Bush administration rounded people up, and I'm sorry, it wasn't Bush, during the Bush years, and they put 200 people in like a bus. They locked them in a bus cage.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's the country you grew up in. The idea that these things haven't been happening. George Carlin got arrested for swearing. We had blasphemy laws on the book.
Yeah, like
the FCC, right? Howard Stern did things that people were always on his ass. So wait. I feel like they're contradicting here. So it's okay. It should be okay for if you're a natural born American or like immigrated here and you're an American. But if you're on a visa or something, you should be able to.
No, Adam is arguing that if you're on a visa, if you're just a visiting person, you should have the same rights as a born citizen. And Tim is just saying like, there's like, do you think? I mean,
he said Seth Rogen. So Seth Rogen's not allowed to, as if he's not an American. Like, I mean, I guess maybe he's not.
He's Canadian.
he wasn't
from
born here,
Vancouver.
I guess, but Seth Rogen doesn't have the same rights as to say
He's
whatever
Canadian.
he wants. But so then he could get in trouble for saying something?
Well, it's more a hypothetical discussion because Tim is saying that he thinks people who are foreigners in the States, that American sovereignty should take priority over foreigners coming into the States and commenting on politics. And a lot of those examples that he gave were Canadian conservatives who have moved to the States and have sort of made a name for themselves commentating on politics. Like he mentioned Viva Fry, and Stephen Crowder is also Canadian.
Even Lauren Southern, I think, was Canadian.
Yeah, but she also lives in Canada, and there was a whole Tenet media scandal. Lauren Chen, she's Canadian. I think her husband is as well. So,
so they don't have the same rights. They can't, even if they're here and they are here legally, they can't say the same things as
they do have the same. They do have the same rights, but Tim is saying that he thinks maybe that shouldn't be the case. It was sort of
that's dumb. I mean, I won't deny that. I think that's silly, right? You want to be an American because we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world. Like, well, then don't we want more people here? Well, not.
It's not about wanting more people.
Right?
Tim is just saying like he doesn't personally appreciate it when a non-citizen is like criticizing.
Well, even if they're a citizen now, like who thinks of Seth Rogen as like not an American?
I think he's just bringing him up.
It's a good talk. It's a good way to go about it, and to get it. The denim gentleman, but like, I don't know. That's interesting.
I think what it really comes down to is, does the First Amendment apply to anybody on American soil? And I think that's where the interesting question is. And
there you go.
Does it?
It was bad, and then we said, "Oh, we shouldn't do that anymore."
And it never changed. The idea that you think you grew up in a nation where you could say whatever you wanted is an absurdity. George Carlin went to jail for swearing,
and that was good. You think?
No,
because
it wasn't.
you think it's good that Rumeysa Ozturk is being forced to leave the country. So
she's on a conditional visa, as conditioned by the INA and the existing administration and the will of the voters.
Okay, but you're arguing.
No. My argument is
you're arguing that Ozturk's deportation makes sense because George Carlin was arrested for swearing.
No, you said I grew up in a country with free speech, and I said no, you did not.
And
it's never been true.
And you're like, okay, yes, you're right. So under your view, America is a country that doesn't have free speech, never had free speech.
Yes,
and that's a good thing.
No,
because we're exercising our sovereignty.
No.
Okay, but you think it's a good thing that Rumeysa Ozturk doesn't have free speech?
You understand the distinction between a non-citizen here on a conditional visa and an American citizen being arrested for swearing?
I understand that there's a distinction. I don't think that either of those people should be treated differently in that case.
Let me say this.
Hold on, I'm going to play this clip. I should have played this before playing this longer clip, but this gives context. So this is what sparked this whole conversation. Federal agents have detained Turkish national Rumeysa Ozturk after graduating from Columbia University in New York City. She led pro-Hamas, violent, anti-Semitic, and anti-American events as a PhD student at Tufts, which is an American university. She now faces deportation. I think this is a clip of her.
I remember this. Yeah.
Somerville. Let me see. This is from Somerville, Massachusetts. From March 25th, federal agents detained Tufts University PhD student Rumeysa Ozturk.
Oh, God.
Ozturk's attorney says the Turkish national who was maintaining valid F1 status was detained by Department of Homeland Security agents as Ozturk was heading to meet friends to break her Ramadan fast.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh man, all of them would have been shot.
Ozturk was among the authors of an op-ed for the Tufts Daily last year that called for the university to acknowledge genocide in Palestine and divest from companies with ties to Israel.
This is what it felt like with the soda lady.
Ozturk's attorney has not been able to contact her client. So I think Tim is thinking like this woman crossed a line.
But it's legal to be here and have a visa, so she doesn't get it just because she doesn't have the full citizenship. She's still here legally, so she's not afforded the same free speech as the rest of us are.
Yeah, again, the question do you believe that she's allowed to exercise the rights of the First Amendment?
She's here legally. Yeah. I mean, she didn't just cross over a border and hold a protest. I think that's silly. I mean, just in my opinion, no. Yeah.
She's here on a trial basis.
A trial basis,
Okay,
Gino says. Okay.
Terrorism, so her ass is lucky it didn't.
Oh, Gino knows the story.
Gino knows. Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah.
You ever get hired somewhere on a trial basis and they're like, all right, let's see how it works out?
Like an internship.
And they're like, all right, so what are you going to do? I'm going to support a terrorist. Get the fuck out, you stupid cunt.
Okay.
Yeah, supporting terrorism is...
There you go. Gino just explained it for you.
Got to stay, and that guy's a cunt.
Yeah, visas are conditional. It's not like you're a permanent resident.
Somebody said she's starting shit. Okay, if it's a safety issue, then that makes sense. I would understand that. Okay.
I think the issue here is that we don't know exactly what it is that she did. Like, was it just that she is critical of Israel, and like, is that what it was?
Well, in the clip, I think she was urging she's done activism, and she's urging the university to divest. I think it's a little bit more than just speech. Like
Gino said, she was like sort of supporting a terrorist organization, is what he. So that would make sense. That's not. She didn't make a shitty joke.
When the founding fathers finalized the Constitution,
do you think we should have free speech?
Yes, but there are limits on what free speech is based on the moral worldview of the individual argument. For instance, do you believe someone should be allowed to direct someone to commit a violent crime?
That's not the moral worldview of an argument. That is the effect of the speech. So you think that whether you have free speech should be your words should be based on the moral worldview of the argument.
So to understand certain arguments of what free speech means, I'm asking you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says explicitly, you right now commit crime to that person, is that free speech?
Someone says you right now commit crime to that person, and what do they do it?
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm not a free speech scholar, but like that is there's probably be legal consequences for that free speech.
It is illegal to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think someone should be able to yell fire in a crowded theater?
I mean, this is the canonical example of speech that's not free speech. So.
It actually is. That's Brandenburg v. Ohio. It is, in fact, legal speech. I don't think people should. I understand the Supreme Court's ruling on that issue. The challenge with free speech, let's go back to the beginning of this country. Blasphemy laws were on the books after they even had the First Amendment. Like they literally say you can't blaspheme. We would say that's not free speech, but how did you have a First Amendment if you arrested people for blaspheming? My point is, and this is an anarchist philosophy, the laws of the country are dictated by those with the power to enforce it. That's why it used to be illegal to put a pie on your windowsill, but even though it's still illegal, nobody arrests you for it. So free speech.
Oh, this is a good comment from the chat here from Strawberry Viking. Tim doesn't feel non-citizens should be able to rally and push their activism for non-American values / terrorism.
Right, which is what Gina was saying. If it incites violence, then actually, I don't think anybody should be able to incite violence if that's the case. So, American or not, yeah.
Other comments. She was soft pedaling. Where did that comment go? It was a good one. Soft pedaling Hamas.
I have a question, I guess, as to what Gino said also. So, in my opinion, terrorist associates should probably go to jail. Right?
Let me get a minute. Eugene, there's a question for you.
I think that we can potentially agree to that. Should that woman go to jail? Say it one more time,
Cayley, because he can answer you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm very curious. Okay, so I think that terrorist associates should probably go to jail, right? I think we can all kind of generally agree with that. So if that woman was a terrorist associate, should she go to jail?
If she's a terrorist, I let me say I would think so, but hopefully I didn't give you the impression she was a terrorist associate. It's just that she wrote a paper supporting terrorist actions. So that's like when you're on a visa, you're like, all right, well, then you're deported because that's not how a U.S. citizen acts. So she didn't get deported, but they put a good scare into her. They put her through trial. Remember, we covered this.
Yeah.
And they let her stay.
I guess I must have been bored that day.
Yeah,
I don't
hard
know.
to believe.
Mind was wandering.
We were fighting with a puppet. It was Jake and Louie that day. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. So did that answer your question? Because I might have screwed it up, but
I think it did.
Wrote a paper supporting like Hamas and shit, and they're like, you can't do that. You're on a visa. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I thank you for helping to explain it. Thank you.
I feel like I made it more cloudy, but sure.
You did it. The girls love it.
How do you forget?
Get out!
We had Jake and Louie, a puppet, fighting with me about. Yeah, I don't remember. It was a normal day.
Yeah, she was arrested and jailed for over 6 weeks because she co-authored an op-ed that offended the government. That's what this one tweet is saying. People think it's dystopian. You know, some people think, oh, it's just free speech. Some people think she crossed the line.
It's definitely an interesting conversation to have about where that line is and what makes somebody a terrorist associate. You know, I mean, that's also an interesting question.
Right.
She called for the school to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Is that really? I would just focus on, I don't know, maybe your grades, getting home safe.
Where do you want the school to do that?
That's
nobody goes to school for their grades.
If I'm studying abroad in Australia, am I going to be like, we got to do something about these fucking angry, vicious koalas? No, I would probably just keep to myself. I would ride out the semester and then be on my way.
Right.
Well, I mean, if the koalas are tearing a place up, like maybe we do need to do something about them.
I'm just there for a semester. It's not my place.
Is there like a Hamas sorority she could join? Maybe.
Well, what if
a course you were taking was about koalas?
True. What if I had a koala minor or something?
Would you want to just get raped by the koala just to not bother anybody?
If I was going to study abroad in Australia, I would be aware of the koala rapes and I would act accordingly. I wouldn't go out.
If you were going to get raped by a koala, you would then apologize to it and explain that your husband only eats fast food sometimes. It's really okay. Everything is fine.
He doesn't eat fast food a lot. Koala bear, fine.
Okay.
We're not there.
Does change throughout the generations.
Of course.
We never grew up in an era. We never had a time in our lives where you had true free speech the way the absolutists want it to be.
Yeah, I'm talking about the story that we tell about ourselves as a country, man. I'm talking about
not true.
I'm talking about the values that we have collectively as people. And of course, those are always changing a little bit and people are trying to pull them in one direction or another.
Split in half.
I would have thought, that like, I don't know that much about you. I know you're very involved with Occupy and stuff like that and protest movements, which I think is cool work.
Did he do like a Google search of Tim Pool from like 15, 20 years ago?
Like Occupy Wall Street? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's how he started out. But like, I don't think Tim has done anything with I mean, I don't know.
Like the fact that he's like, I don't know much about you, and then brings that up. Things like what? I don't know. I feel like you know his whole history.
That probably comes up on page 1 of a Tim Pool Google search.
Here's something incredibly embarrassing from your past, but I don't know you at all. Yeah.
Well, not embarrassing. It's just outdated info. It's like that was like from what, 2015?
True.
Maybe earlier.
I would have thought that like a student writing an op-ed about another country's war and her own institution's support for it, vis-a-vis our country's foreign policy, would be the kind of thing that you would think is a sort of free speech that we should value. That is the kind of free speech that I think, I personally think like a lot of the idea of America is built upon. I think it's one of the good things about the country, that this is a country where you can come here and you can express your opinion mildly in the newspaper.
What happened at Kent State?
And I think Kent State was bad.
My point is,
there's things
we wish America was, but I kind of feel like a non-citizen.
But this one you said you think is good. You're not sitting here going, man, yeah, that's a bummer.
She got deported, dude. What are you talking about? She didn't get shot in the face.
Actually, she didn't.
A conditional visa was revoked. I'm not crying about it. I don't care.
I mean, I think she cares. I think
That's
her
too
family
fucking
cares. I
bad.
think the people of her.
Yeah, I think they did release her. She might.
Yeah,
still be.
they let her stay. Did they need 6 dudes to detain her? Probably not. Maybe not, but they let her stay.
Who knows? Maybe she works out. You need 6 just to be safe.
University.
Maybe she had a bomb on her.
I think,
No.
like,
Change the law, man. This is a marginal issue for a single person who was in violation of the INA as it's enforced by a government that was elected by a popular majority, or I should say by a plurality, but the popular vote. So let me pull this up because this is what we were talking about earlier. This is RCP from April 22nd. Every age bracket, to be fair, 40-49 is a tie, but Real Clear Politics aggregate shows from all of the latest polls, 70 plus is the only age group that is a negative view of Trump's job.
Wow.
okay. I'm just trying to.
This is a popular majority.
I'm just trying to make sense of your position around free speech, because you agree with me about all the past things in America that you're talking about. Kent State, you're talking about George Carlin and all these other things, and these were bad abrogations of free speech.
Indeed, deportation is not a murder. You're going home. I'm giving you a ride home. But if you came to my house, I let you in the door. I said, you can hang out tonight. And you started shit talking my brother. I say, bro, I'm going to give you a ride home. I don't think you should be here. That's not an affront to someone's sovereignty or free speech. It's like the worst thing that happened to you is I gave you a ride home. Oh, I'm going to cry. She's going home. What's the problem? Home's nice. If she was here conditionally, we said, hey, we kind of think you're being a dick. We're going to give you a ride home. That's it.
I mean, when I get a ride home,
Kent State,
6 guys don't normally shove me into a van and then my family doesn't know where I am. That's, how about you're at a bar and you're acting out in some way and they say, listen, buddy, do you feel
security throws you out of the bar?
Do you feel this woman was acting out? Do you think she was acting inappropriately? Do you think that she was acting?
I've already told you I did not.
Okay, so then how are you justifying what happened?
I don't think you can
legally narrow that it can happen. Therefore, it's good.
I don't think you know how to separate. I just don't think you know how to comprehend the separation between. I have no issue with a woman making her argument. I think it was absurd to claim she's adhering to Hamas because she's critical of Israel. But her visa is conditional, and it is the authority of these United States and the Secretary of State to revoke that. So it's okay. Right? Trump won the popular vote.
Yeah, they're like, all right, let's just. I can understand if you think, all right, well, this person's acting questionably.
I think, and Tim is misinformed here. They didn't actually drive her home; they let her stay. I think it's a little probably too much for 6 dudes to throw her in a van, but I guess they were just being overly careful. But
this episode is from. Oh, it's from. Just last night. Okay. Cayley, Rachel, thoughts, feelings?
I think it's an interesting discussion. I think that this guy really reminds me of the villain from The Incredibles. It's the only thing I can see. I think for this, it also really boils down to like how people view the Israel-Palestine conflict. Like people who are very pro-Israel are going to be like, yeah, like she shouldn't be allowed to say that, like get her out of here. But people who have perhaps a more nuanced view of it or tend to disagree with what is going on and tend to be pro-Palestinian might be like, she should have the right to say that here. Like I think when it comes down to like most people, like that's how they're going to answer this question, because that's obviously what this was about in this instance.
Here,
they seem like they're like halfway on the same side, but then there's some weird disconnect. He does look like that,
right? Come on. That's so good. I would want to actually read I want to read the paper that she wrote. Like I don't like to make a quick kind of.
I do too now.
I want to read the paper and then sort of draw my own conclusions.
Let's see. Is that something we can get? Can we get?
He looks exactly like that guy.
I think it's so weird.
Rumeysa.
I'm glad that you see it too.
God, could this
Especially in this
be accessed publicly? Interesting. Protecting student journalism, Rumeysa Ozturk, and the titling risk reward equation of free speech. Oh, where is the actual paper though? No, this is just an article about it.
Interesting.
Oh, she did go
I'll
home.
link
This
the
was May
op-ed if you
10th. This
need
is
it.
an article from May 10th. She did go back home, arrives back home after spending 6 weeks at a Louisiana detention center. So I think she's been home as of May 10th.
Six
6
fucking weeks. Okay, now come the fuck on. Really? They had to detain her for 6 weeks. That has to be an
So
oversight.
she's back in Massachusetts after 6 weeks in an ICE detention center.
Yes,
How
Gino.
long were the people for January 6th then?
You are correct.
Yep.
Yes, that wasn't right either.
That
So
wasn't right.
no.
That went on years.
Wait, so she's back in Massachusetts?
She is back in Massachusetts.
So she didn't get deported.
You're right. Okay.
She did not get deported.
Bitch to say if you're on a visa, mind your P's and Q's.
Hey,
P
okay.
is in pussy, Q is in Iraq.
I love you, weirdo. Okay.
Thank you, baby.
Wow. okay.
I think that it is an interesting concept to think about, the idea of being here on a trial position as being the same thing as being a trial at a job. However, a job is a private company where you are doing something privately. Obviously, this is public. And so I guess for me, it kind of comes down to the question of, again, if we want to have it, at what point do we say that the amendments in the Constitution apply to people who are on our soil? And, I'm not aware of any law that says that she can't do what she did. That being said, I don't know that means that it's right. I'm just not aware of any law that says that she shouldn't have done it. And so that's where I think it gets a little bit sticky. It's interesting, and it is very interesting to watch Tim debate this. I've enjoyed that quite a bit. I had not seen this before.
She
We
was
need to
not
get a
charged.
constitutional expert on here.
She was not charged with any crime, but she was accused of participating in activities in support of Hamas.
But they just kept her captive for 6 weeks. That's weird.
Well, was it maybe because she had a lawyer who was fighting for her, so there was more back and forth than there would have been if she just got sent home?
Probably.
Wouldn't your lawyer get you out of detainment earlier than that? Yeah, I don't know. That's bizarre. I don't really know about that. Yeah. Right, Jean? Okay.
This is the agenda.
Man. Sorry, man. This is the hump that I can't get over.
Clearly.
You don't have any problem with what she actually did, right? But Trump Trump and Rubio had the narrow legal ability to do it.
You're not following.
Do you agree with their decision to do it?
I think there is a net negative to a degree that foreigners come to this country to dictate our politics. Canadian,
I'm sorry,
British,
dictate our politics, or just give their opinion in the newspaper that's dictating?
Let's I'll talk on the language. To come here and advocate for policies of the American people.
So you feel that foreign nationals of all kinds, when they're in the United States, should never speak about our politics ever, upon pain of legal punishment. That is a position that you have about America generally.
Did they agree to it? When they applied for the visa under the INA, did they agree to those terms?
I don't know.
The answer is yes, they did. It clearly states when you're coming here on a condition, you can't do certain things. It literally says you won't protest. And we still would allow them to hold a sign up or something. But maybe if they didn't.
But apparently we don't allow them to hold a sign up. So I'm not asking about what they agreed to. I'm not asking the legal justification.
Don't agree to things.
Do you, Tim Pool, believe that as a moral issue, as a practical issue? Do you think that America should be a country in which every foreign national in the country should feel that they should never speak about American politics under pain of legal punishment?
No.
You don't think that's you don't agree with that?
You presented me an absolute, right? You gave me the extreme end.
Okay, so Rumeysa Ozturk, I think, is a really illustrative example because it was such a mild
understand
version.
That they've made an agreement upon entering this country that if they are in violation of the terms of their visa, it may be revoked. If they come here with the intent of advocating against U.S. foreign policy, that is a consequence. Speech has consequences. I think we're getting hung up on the issue that I've clearly answered, and I understand maybe you don't understand, but we can
I think I've pinned you down well enough that like you just.
It's just he's such an asshole. It's so hard to.
I want to deport him.
Even on some of his points, which you want to understand him, you're like, but he's such a prick about it.
He's smug, but I don't know. I think these two clowns are sort of on the same side, and they're fighting about one little weird thing, which I don't necessarily agree with Tim with. I think that was overkill for them for 6 dudes to throw this lady in a van. I do. Well,
it wasn't 6 dudes. They were there. They didn't all have their hands on her.
True, but 6 men come up. She wasn't protesting. She wasn't protesting. She wrote a paper at a college that she got into. And yes, she's on a visa, but I mean, aren't we for free speech? I mean, where does it say? Yeah, I guess if it says in your visa thing, you're not allowed to protest, but does it say you're not allowed to write a paper about what you want at your college?
I guess
it's challenging because the idea of doing something like supporting Hamas is a vague statement. Like supporting anything is a vague statement. Giving money to something, that's clear support. But like, again, writing a paper, like Keanu was saying, that is far more challenging.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem like not 6 dudes didn't descend on her and throw her in a van, but she was detained for 6 weeks. That's a little nuts. But I will agree, Denim Guy is smug as fuck. Right. So
finish this out. Hold on.
You just like really have a much smaller view of free speech than I do, and I think a lot of Americans do. I think it's a change to the American spirit. I think it makes the country smaller. It's a shittier country to live in. Is a country where people live in fear of what they say when they're here on a student.
They always have.
Yeah, and that's bad. So, it's bad. So to live in fear of saying shit.
This is not. You see, this is here's the issue. I suppose
your whole bullshit culture baiting thing about the Islam stuff in England. If what you say is true, and it may be, I don't know, because I don't really I don't really follow that as
you would
do.
Never.
But I think it's bad. You would about that country.
You would never go to the UK and do those things.
If I were now, look, I don't know of the policies of which you speak, okay? But if I were to be in England and I were to make a joke on their stage and I were to be put into a van and removed from a country, I would say this is a bad thing about England, and I would I think that the country sucks, and I think that they should change it, and I don't think people should go there anymore, and that sucks for them and it sucks for us.
You wouldn't make a joke about Islam in the United States.
Yeah, I'm on Denim Guy's side at this point.
Okay. Sure. What's that meant to prove?
You don't actually believe in free speech. You fear the consequences.
Because I don't make a joke about the topic that you demand me to?
Because this topic
I don't believe in free speech.
Resulted in people like at Charlie Hebdo getting murdered.
Yeah, that's bad. And bad that they were murdered.
South Park tried just showing Muhammad, and Comedy Central wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, that's bad.
So let's see you stand up.
Adam just keeps saying that's bad, and Tim's trying to say these are the consequences of what is said. And he's like, would you go and say something in a different country?
I also sort of take his point. It's like he's demanding that what's his name, Andrew?
Adam. Denim Guy.
The nameless jean jacket guy. He's like, you're demanding I make jokes about these things. So I'm curious to the context of this. Like, does he make fun of all other religions but Islam? Is that like a thing he's known for, or is this topic of Islam?
I think Tim is just saying this is an example of something like Adam acts like he talks about free speech is so great, which it is, and you should be able to say whatever you want without consequences, and Tim is saying there are consequences to speech. Would you go to the UK and besmirch Islam? And he's like, the example.
Well, I'd go to UK and make jokes about if I had jokes about whatever, like I wouldn't expect to be thrown in a van and taken away. That is bizarre. I think it was a very weird oversight or something. I don't know.
I think again,
a lot of people in the comments saying that he makes fun of majority Western religions. So yeah, I think that was maybe sort of the context Tim was bringing up. Like, you'll make fun of Christians because, no one will do anything, but, you can't make fun of Islam. So I take his point.
I do think it comes back very much to the idea of, is it just being on U.S. soil that gives us the right to free speech? I think that that's really where it comes back to. And it comes back to questions not even just being in other countries. So if I go to a state where I'm not allowed to turn on red lights, then I have to listen to that rule. If I am somewhere else, then I should have to listen to that rule. That doesn't mean that I have a visa to be in that state. And so I think that that's interesting as well. We should abide by what we're supposed to do in certain places, and at what point are we allowed to do that? Does it apply just to the people who are on the soil, or does it apply only to the citizens?
Yeah, good point.
Well, then why would you want anyone, why would anybody want to come to this country if they're not afforded? You have to have a visa or whatever when you're, or I don't know, how do you become a citizen?
So she called for a divestment of the college from Israeli companies. That is what the op-ed is demanding, and that's what led to her arrest. And this is a screenshot of, let me pull this up. Okay, context of detention and release. Rumeysa Ozturk, a fifth-year PhD student in the Elliott Pearson Department of Child Study and Human Development at Tufts, focuses her research on children's and adolescents' positive development in a digitally connected world, particularly social media use in pro-social ways. She received a Fulbright scholarship, smarty pants, and earned a master's degree in developmental and child psychology from Columbia in 2020. Her detention stemmed from an op-ed published in the Tufts Daily on March 26, 2024. So this is like a year ago, co-authored with 3 others and endorsed by 32 students, criticizing Tufts' response to resolutions calling for divestment from companies tied to Israel and acknowledgement of the Palestinian genocide. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and ICE claimed she engaged in activities in support of Hamas, but no criminal charges were filed and no public evidence beyond the op-ed was provided. She was detained for over 6 weeks, reporting poor medical care and worsening asthma. That's from her lawyers, before being released on May 9th, 2025, by order of U.S. District Judge William Sessions, who found no evidence she engaged or advocated violence. Okay.
That's where I struggle also. So like if she is criticizing Tufts, then Tufts can kick her out because they are a private institution. So if Tufts kicks her out and then her visa says you're no longer in university and a part of your visa conditions were being in university, then we can deport her. If that is the series of events, then I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I agree with Keanu a little bit, at least what I'm understanding from what Keanu is saying is that I think that this series of events is maybe not necessarily the right one here.
This is the op-ed here. Wow. Okay. Yeah. From March 26, 2024. Op-ed, try again. President Kumar renewing calls for Tufts to adopt March 4th TCU Senate resolutions. How long is this? Wow, it's just this. On March 4th, Tufts Community Union Senate passed 3 out of 4 resolutions demanding that the university acknowledge the Palestinian genocide, apologize for University President Sunil Kumar's statements, disclose its investments, and divest from companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel. These resolutions were the product of meaningful debate by the Senate and represent a sincere effort to hold Israel accountable for clear violations of international law. Credible accusations against Israel include accounts of deliberate starvation, indiscriminate slaughter of Palestinian civilians, and plausible genocide. Unfortunately, the university's response to the Senate resolutions has been wholly inadequate and dismissive of the Senate. The collective voice of the student body, Graduate Students for Palestine, joins Tufts for Justice in Palestine, the Tufts Faculty and Staff Coalition for Ceasefire, and Fletcher Students for Palestine to reject the university's response. So graduate students were not allowed by the university into a Senate meeting. It's almost like they are fostering this kind of, I guess, activism on campus. They have these student groups.
There are plenty of them. Right. There's a lot of things like that. Right. There probably is a Hamas sorority, Zeta Hamas or whatever. Like she writes a paper on it, and then just because she's just on a visa, I don't see how they thought it was necessary to
If it's
Lock
such a
her up for
problem,
6
then
weeks.
don't have these groups.
Yeah, make it a you can't protest on our campus. Don't make these fucking groups. Yeah, that's not.
Again, that's a private institution. They can 100% do that.
They
I have
can,
no
yeah.
I have no
You're right.
problem with them doing that because they
And
are a
I
private
actually
institution.
don't have a problem with it either. But if somebody that's just on a visa or whatever, she's not afforded the same free speech that the other college students are. Again, she's a student. She's a student. So she's learning. Right. Saying, well, mind your P's and Q's. I think that's silly.
And I guess how much power does this have? It's interesting. It does seem like almost like they're giving her too much credit or they're giving her too much power. Like, I don't know. How much influence did this woman really have?
Well, it's so true. It's like, what was this going to do? Like make people like incite violence or something? Why would they even bother with it? I think that's weird. Yeah.
This is so boring. I'm trying to find like this.
How did the people that arrested her even get through it?
Right. Lobbying. It's student activism. And I don't think she's probably not the only buddy on campus with these feelings and writing these kinds of things.
Yeah, or probably if there's groups, there's probably many of them. So
and there's multiple. This was written by a bunch of people. What happened to everybody else?
Nothing.
But was everyone else an American citizen?
Fatima, doubt it.
Well, then why didn't they throw Fatima in a paddy wagon? I don't understand. No, I think that's a weird fucking oversight.
Yeah, that would be an interesting question. All right, let me see what else they say on this. Let's finish this out.
For that value and come out and make a joke about it.
I've stood up about free speech plenty of times. What are you talking about?
Take it to the next level, brother.
Okay.
How about we do this? You believe in free speech.
Dude, this is what you do when you've lost an argument, is that you just you just
not even
jump
arguing
to this. You just jump to this. What
you brought it up.
What did I the Islam piece of it. No.
And now I'm continuing the conversation and you're derailing into you must have lost the argument.
No, because
let's stand up for South Park, for Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
I stand up for them.
So go on stage and show a big picture of Muhammad.
I'm sorry. What the thing that you're doing?
Stand up for free speech, brother. Do it.
Oof.
I'll do it with you.
So you're demanding me to go on stage and
prove
do
you
something
care about
specific,
free speech.
And unless I do, I'm a coward.
I'm saying
this is a bizarre rhetorical move. This is a bizarre rhetorical move.
I didn't call you a coward.
Tim is just saying, like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, see what happens to you if you do this. And he's like, I don't understand why you're asking me to do this.
He's like, he clutches his denim. Yes.
I said, prove you care about free speech.
Yeah,
do something that creates real risk to your person for free speech.
Yeah, I speak about shit all the time, dude. I'm happy to live in America where the things I say don't create real risk to my person. In fact, if I were to say the things that you're saying, I would not be creating.
So that tells me that he's not said a joke nor sent a tweet that's had any real backlash. He just said, like, I have never really had a risk to my person. He's never been like pepper sprayed at a comedy show. He's never, no one's ever thrown a sandwich at him. He's never been swatted. He's never
had a pop thrown at him.
No.
Or soda.
Right. Exactly. He's a cartoon.
It's easy for him to sit there and I think he is afraid because he's never had, it sounds like he's never had a moment where he was like, oh shit, I got this crazy letter in the mail like we all do, or like, just an unhinged fan.
I have to say, for a comedian, he's not very funny.
Well, this isn't a funny conversation, but yeah.
Real risk to my person.
You don't think so?
I do not think so.
Then why not just do it? Prove me wrong.
Because I don't have anything in particular to say about those topics.
Just put a picture of Muhammad up and say, praise be.
He can be not a controversial comedian.
I'm really glad we got here again because
not every comedian.
Right, Ellen DeGeneres, you look a clean comedian or whatever. Maybe he's more like that. So I do get that, but he's like, well, yeah. Why don't you say something that may get you arrested?
I'm actually shocked that Adam said he's never felt like a risk to his what does he say? Personhood. That's shocking that he could do comedy this long and never been like, actually, I did have a scary moment, or
well, it looked like a hefty dude, so maybe he just
maybe it's being a man. It's
right.
It's
I don't
just
know.
easier. I don't know, because you're not like physically worried about harm.
No one threatens anybody in full denim. I don't think.
It's just very fun to sit in how weird this part of the conversation is.
Remember Charlie Hebdo?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, a bunch of people were shot because they
got a picture of Muhammad.
Yeah, that's bad.
Do you think if you did that, they might want to shoot you too?
Yeah, maybe.
So you shouldn't do it.
I mean, I don't have it. Well, the particular images that they showed, I didn't think were like very funny. Like
Comedy
it was their
Central
right to
wouldn't
do
let
it.
South Park
But,
do it either. They censored the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
bleeped
bad.
out, like,
Yeah, that's bad, and I think that's contrary to American values.
Why won't the free speech people who believe we should live in this country stand up against that?
I'm sorry. I'm not standing up for free speech unless I do what exactly?
I didn't say the only way for you to stand up for free speech is to do something. I said, why won't people who are claiming...
You called me a hypocrite, and I don't understand what's hypocritical about...
Oh, my God. All right, with this, a few more minutes on this. I didn't realize this was going to take this long.
It's definitely interesting, though.
It's juicy. Okay. 4 more minutes of this, and then I'm going to play a couple more clips of Adam being shitty.
About me only doing jokes about the topics that I'm interested in.
That you would not go to the UK and speak in violation of their speech laws.
I mean, I went there. I made fun of their government. I talked about, the fire at Heathrow because that impacted my travel when I was there. I talked about, yeah.
So you can make fun of white people, but you can't make fun of non-white people. You go to jail for that.
True.
Okay, yeah, I think that would, if it's as you say, that sounds like if it would apply to me as a comedian.
I would not.
I think it would say that's a bad law.
I would not go to Turkey and speak out against Islam, and I would not go to the UK and violate their speech laws.
Oh, okay. So are you a coward? What's your point?
No, I actually agree with the sovereignty of nations, and if they have laws, I'm not going to violate them.
Oh, I see the point that you're making. Okay, so so when things are legal, they're just.
No.
Okay. So then what is your point?
Your argument is that foreigners should come here.
So one of your values is you should respect the sovereignty of other nations. But again, look, this is a
should we invade
this
China?
this is a recent change in the way that the U.S. prosecutes and selectively enforces the laws that are on the books, and that's what happened to Rumeysa Ozturk, and again, that's like a material change in like
I will
values
say,
of America.
Just because I think we spent like an hour on the one subject.
Yeah, I've been having a great time. Yeah,
I agree. It's been fun.
Doesn't sound like
I have a question
Oh my
for
God,
you.
they've been having a good
You mentioned
time.
that Trump is,
Okay, I think that might be it for that one. Just a little more filler on Adam's politics.
I do
here.
wonder if they shook hands after that interview. Like,
It makes me
want
wanna
to. It was like I want to
watch the whole
see
thing.
2 minutes after they turned off the cameras. Like that's what I want to see.
That's probably in there. Well, Tim does have sometimes a like additional, like after the episode they'll record further. So yeah, I wonder if they made nice. So this is Adam. We're living under authoritarianism, but you have he actually believes we're living under authoritarianism.
So in the past couple of weeks, reading the news has become kind of a surreal experience. Trump is throwing innocent people into unmarked vans and sending them to foreign concentration camps. But whoops, we're supposed to ignore that because J.D. Vance just killed the Pope and Jeff Bezos shot Katy Perry into space for feminism. This is such a weird time to be alive that the same day Katy, girl boss too close to the sun, I got a notification on my phone from the LA Times which asked me, what's to stop...
Oh, okay. I just got my answer of where these messages are coming from. The LA Times. Okay.
He
Trump
stole
from
my
exiling
joke
you to a foreign prison? It's actually a good question.
What's your joke, Keanu?
about JD Vance killing the Pope, and believe me, people don't like it. So, no, it's a very touchy thing. But I guess that was a parallel thought.
He's a joke thief.
Yeah, he
is to
stole
stop
my
Trump from
joke.
sending me or you or anyone we care about to a hole in Central America to die. I mean, in the past few months, our government has pulled a student off the street for the crime of writing her opinion in the newspaper, thrown her into a van, and flown her 1,500 miles from her community to rot in a cell. It's detained its own U.S. citizens for looking Mexican. And Trump has directly defied a unanimous Supreme Court order to bring back a man they admit they sent by mistake to a Salvadoran prison. So if you were wondering what life was going to be like under authority,
I mean, if there's a couple that are sent by accident, but there's thousands that are rightly sent there, I guess I'm okay with that.
Can I add one thing about that? Can
Get
I
the
add one
rapists
thing?
out.
And by that I mean ask you guys, okay? Because look at his stupid fucking smug face. You understand why he was sent back to El Salvador by accident, right? And this isn't okay. And this is watch this. This isn't me. It's Chrissie. It's me. So you know it's not me. Gonna let me explain. Like this blew me away. He was sent back. He wasn't supposed to be sent there because he was accused twice of being in MS-13. So they're like, you're here illegally, you're in MS-13. And they said, yeah, because we're such a good country. They're like, yeah, but you can't send me to back to El Salvador because I will get killed by a rival gang. A rival gang, a gang that is a rival of MS-13, which wants to kill me. So we said, okay, we won't send you back. And then because of some paperwork error, we sent this guy back. And he's like, yeah, but I'm not MS-13. Then fucking stay there. What are you worried about? And the gang, the rival gang he was worried about doesn't even exist anymore. I think it was the Compound Media gang. So do you understand? This fucking cocksucker, and please tell me you're going to talk about Bruce Springsteen next, that does nothing but say, oh, we sent him illegally. You're a fucking cocksucking piece of I hate his face. So can you explain to me why someone's like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to be sent there? Why? Because I get killed by a rival gang of who? MS-13, which I'm not a member of. No. All right, I'm done interrupting you guys.
Thank you, Gino. He's got so much pizzazz. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.